Get ready to boogie down memory lane as we unearth some hidden gems you probably forgot were so awesome. We'll rediscover monster hits that have faded into obscurity, as well as the deep cuts that deserve just as much airtime today as back then. So crank up the 8-track player and let's revisit 28 songs from the 1970s you totally forgot were awesome. Lola by the Kinks. Kicking things off is a gender-bending romp from the Kinks that playfully blurs the lines with its surprise twist ending. Released in 1970, Lola tells the tale of a young man's lustful encounter with the lovely Lola. But by song's end, he gets quite the eye-opening surprise that Lola is a man. Back then, lyrics openly addressing transgender identity were pretty taboo. Several radio stations actually banned the track or edited out the risky reveal. But nothing could stop this catchy tune's ascent up the charts. An irresistible combination of acoustic strumming and heavy bass guitar, Lola's scandalous lyrics shocked the establishment while pioneering greater acceptance at the same time. Go Your Own Way by Fleetwood Mac. Now we mosey on over to Fleetwood Mac's breakup banger, Go Your Own Way, from their 1977 LP Rumors. While songs about heartache are a dime a dozen, the raw emotion in this track comes straight from real life. Group members Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks had just ended their long-term relationship as they began working on the album. Buckingham channels the bitterness and betrayal of their messy split into scathing lyrics like, "Packing up, shacking up is all you want to do." Meanwhile, Nicks slyly references their drama on the soaring chorus. Talk about awkward. But somehow they managed to put aside their differences long enough to gift us this beautiful disaster. With its driving rhythms, pulsing bass, and Mick Fleetwood's fiery drum fills, Go Your Own Way stands out as one of Fleetwood Mac's finest moments.
Now there you go again, you say you want your free.
Freebird by Lynyrd Skynyrd. Stretching our wings with the next pick, few songs capture the freewheeling spirit of 70s rock better than Lynyrd Skynyrd's Freebird. And with guitars wailing for nearly 10 epic minutes, it fully earned its nickname, the Southern Rock Stairway to Heaven. Released on their debut 1973 album pronounced Leynyrd Skynyrd, it immediately connected with fans. The achingly bittersweet ballad mourns the loss of a loved one with evocative lyrics like, "If I leave here tomorrow, would you still remember me?" And just when listeners think it's winding down, they're treated to several minutes of face-melting fretwork. Guitarists Gary Rossington and Alan Collins trade licks back and forth until your mind is officially blown. If blistering guitar solos are your thing, crank this sucker up to 11.
I must be traveling on now.
Dancing Queen by ABBA. Shimmying down to more sunny territory, we shine the disco ball spotlight on ABBA's 1976 smash Dancing Queen. Catchy refrains celebrating 17-year-old dancing dynamos don't seem so scandalous nowadays. But back then, lyrics glorifying underaged clubbing raised some eyebrows. Nonetheless, the upbeat lyrics and bouncing piano melodies proved downright infectious. Like a shot of musical serotonin, Dancing Queen ruled the airwaves and discotheques around the world in the late 70s. Yet surprisingly, it was the only track ABBA ever cracked the top of the US charts with. Well, color me shocked, because this feel-good jam still inspires impromptu dance-offs whenever it comes on. Twirl away, people. Disco never died. It was just waiting for you to press play. Doctor My Eyes by Jackson Browne. Shifting to a mellower mood, soft rock balladeer Jackson Browne delivers weariness beyond his years on this 1972 deep cut. Lyrically, a world-weary Browne tries making sense of all the pain and injustice he sees around him. Hard to believe the dude was only 23 when he penned a line like, "Doctor, my eyes have seen the years and the slow parade of fears without crying." Backed by spare acoustic strumming and weeping pedal steel guitar, the song radiates with maturity and vulnerability. Yet despite the heavy themes, an air of hope prevails thanks to the soothing harmonies. Like a wise friend comforting you after a bad day, Jackson Browne's moving meditations reveal an old soul coming to terms with a broken world. Definitely worth a spot on any 70s folk playlist. Take the Money and Run by the Steve Miller Band. All right, folks, the jig is up. Time to go on the lam 70s outlaw style with the Steve Miller Band's 1976 hit, Take the Money and Run, painting the portrait of wannabe career criminals with more ambition than skill. The lyrics detail the misadventures of Billy Joe and Bobby Sue. Their half-baked heist plans never seem to work out thanks to that age-old monkey wrench, love. Steve Miller's jangly guitars capture the caper's captivating fun as the would-be Bonnie and Clyde meet their downfall. Unsophisticated lyrics aside, the song proved the Steve Miller Band's commercial breakthrough. Take the Money and Run raced up the pop charts, landing the band their first top 10 hit. Decades later, its breezy musical escape still delivers thrills and makes you want to join Billy Joe and Bobby Sue's bumbling crime spree.
This here's a story about Billy Joe and Bobby Sue. Two young lovers.
Right Place, Wrong Time by Dr. John. Moving on up to the Big Easy, we stumble into Dr. John's funky lament, Right Place, Wrong Time. Stirring together a spicy musical gumbo, Mac Rebenak, aka Dr. John, dishes up red beans and rice-fueled chronicles of backluck and trouble. Gritty lyrics tell just how crazy things got during a stint in New Orleans. Yet somehow, being stuck in the chaotic aftermath of a police strike doesn't dampen the good times vibe. Horns blare, congas drive the rhythm, and that slippery bass line keeps the funk flowing. Sadly for Dr. John, his single's success didn't translate into him becoming a household name. But Right Place, Wrong Time rightly earns its place among the top slice-of-life funk classics.
I'm in the right place, been the wrong time, been the right.
Rocket Man by Elton John. Our next pick mostly flew under the radar despite coming from chart royalty. Released on Elton John's classic 1972 album Honky Chateau, Rocket Man transports listeners on a slow zoom towards the stars. Penned by John's lifelong writing partner Bernie Taupin, the evocative lyrics poetically mirror an astronaut's isolation by imagining what it's like floating round my tin can far above the world. Haunting backing harmonies, sparkling piano lines, and weeping pedal steel guitar communicate the lonely wonder of space travel. Fun fact, the song shares so much DNA with David Bowie's 1969 single Space Oddity. Taupin swears he unconsciously cribbed parts from it. But if you ask me, this golden tune clearly blasts past its predecessor. With synthesizers still in their infancy, Elton and crew deliver interstellar lushness, using only analog instruments.
I miss the earth so much, I miss my wife.
Play That Funky Music by Wild Cherry. All right, party people, it's about time we brought a little funk to this 1970s throwback party. Virtually anybody else but Wild Cherry could have recorded Play That Funky Music and topped the charts instantly. Yet somehow this no-name band from Pittsburgh broke through first instead. The story goes that the group noticed people only danced when bands covered funky songs instead of playing their own material. So they decided to take a sarcastic jab by having a white dude beg to hear some funky music. Please! But the joke was on them when it became their first smash. Play That Funky Music's propulsive bass and steady drums laid the foundation for disco's mainstream takeover. Lead singer Rob Parisi's pleading vocals turned out downright irresistible too. While often seen as a novelty track, the song endures as a 70s funk exemplar. Magic Man by Heart. Pop rock powerhouse Heart memorably broke onto the scene with their 1976 debut single, Magic Man. Written by guitarist Nancy Wilson while she was just a teenager, this coming-of-age tale captured the thrill and naivety of her first love affair with an older guy. Hindsight may be 20/20 when it comes to matters of the heart, but that won't stop you from coming back for more. Hold the Line by Toto. Boasting one of the most iconic openings in rock history, Toto burst onto the scene in 1978 with Hold the Line. That unmistakable keyboard riff might as well be musical shorthand for the late 70s. Powered along by Jeff Porcaro's impeccable groove and high-notation vocals, the infectiously upbeat track dominated radio airwaves. Fun fact, legend has it the band was under such pressure recording their debut album, they set up beds in the studio for quick naps. That helps explain lyrics, imploring a lover to "Love isn't always on time." The long hours paid off, though. Hold the Line immediately launched Toto to stardom and still retains its stay power even among younger generations. Few songs capture the slick studio sheen of 70s soft rock with such precision. Simply flawless.
It's not in the way that you hold me. It's not in the way.
Heart of Gold by Neil Young. Next up, a true golden oldie from folk icon Neil Young. Released on 1972's Harvest album, Heart of Gold stands out as Neil's sole chart-topping hit. Buttressed by James Taylor and Linda Ronstadt's honeyed harmonies, Neil unspools unvarnished verses, searching for meaning in an uncertain world. Frequent young collaborator Jack Nitzsche colors the arrangement with pedal steel guitar washes, while Neil's signature wavering tenor ties it all together. Lyrically, it's a humble man's admission that behind all the bravado lies the simple universal longing to be loved. Though such candid vulnerability was hardly en vogue in the era of flashy showmen, audiences responded in droves. Neil Young struck folk gold crafting this rootsy rumination that continues touching souls decades later.
I wanna live, I wanna give.
Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen. Rounding things out with an extravagant flourish, we revisit the rock opera to end all rock operas. Queen's 1975 magnus opus Bohemian Rhapsody. A wildly ambitious undertaking, this 6-minute mini odyssey defied all conventions back then of what a chart-topping single could deliver. Weaving elements of hard rock, Broadway pomp, and plain old weirdness, it transports listeners across a range of musical extremes. Bombastic passages give way to a cappella breakdowns until culminating in the triumphant stadium rock finale. Buoying these shape-shifting arrangements, Freddie Mercury unleashes his 4-octave bravura like a musical demigod. Decades later, Bohemian Rhapsody retains its ability to both confound and delight listeners unlike anything else from the decade. Bow Down to Queen.
Just kill the man. God against his.
Bridge Over Troubled Water by Simon and Garfunkel. Simon and Garfunkel's epic ballad, Bridge Over Troubled Water, cemented their legacy as one of folk rock's most legendary duos. Released in 1970, this gospel-tinged piano anthem showcases Art Garfunkel's sweeping vocals as he pledges unconditional support to a friend in need. Paul Simon's inspiration initially came from imagining Aretha Franklin covering the song, and you can hear her influence in Garfunkel's soulful delivery. Accompanying Garfunkel's knockout vocal performance, orchestral strings and piano create a lush sonic backdrop that elevates the intimacy to spiritual heights. Upon its release, Bridge Over Troubled Water dominated the charts and won a slew of Grammys, including Record and Song of the Year. Few songs unite Simon and Garfunkel's mastery of intricate acoustic arrangements and pop accessibility more flawlessly than this enduring classic.
Your eyes, I will
try.
Leila by Derek and the Dominoes. Eric Clapton's blues rock opus Leila stands out as one of rock's most legendary unrequited love songs. Released in late 1970 on the soul Derek and the Dominoes album, Clapton poured out his anguished longing for close friend George Harrison's wife Pattie Boyd. From its distinct opening guitar riff to the heart-rending piano exit, Leila takes listeners on a relentless emotional roller coaster ride. Duane Allman's lyrical slide guitar lines intertwine sublimely with Clapton's furious licks. Meanwhile, Jim Gordon's shuffling drums and Carl Rattle's sinewy bass provide the bedrock to support Clapton's lovesick wailing. Upon release, Leila failed to gain much traction. But over the years, its raw intensity came to epitomize Clapton's fiery passion and cemented the track as a timeless rock standard. Sweet Home Alabama by Lynyrd Skynyrd. Southern rock legends Lynyrd Skynyrd fired back against criticism of the South with their 1974 anthem Sweet Home Alabama. An indignant Ronnie Van Zant snarls back at Neil Young for trashing Alabama in his songs Southern Man and Alabama. Guitars ring out with defiant Southern pride during the call and response chorus as the band affirms their roots. With its catchy dobro riff and scorching triple solo showcase, Sweet Home Alabama encapsulates everything that made Lynyrd Skynyrd legends. They proudly embraced their Southern heritage while still showing compassion, with lyrics upholding late civil rights activist Martin Luther King Jr. Released during the height of Southern rock's mainstream popularity, this fiery defense became both their breakthrough hit and a cultural touchstone for the region. To this day, Sweet Home Alabama remains a spirited ode to the Southern way of life.
I'm a Alabama once again, and I think it's a sin. Yeah.
Fox on the Run by Sweet. British glam rockers Sweet struck chart gold with their 1975 single, Fox on the Run. The infectious stomper finally gave the band their elusive first US Top 10 hit after a string of near misses. Its chugging guitars, hand claps, and falsetto harmonies came together into a perfect storm of bubblegum melodic brilliance. Lyrically, the song uses clever wordplay to chronicle the adventures of a wily Lothario, always one step ahead of his jilted lovers. Bolstered by an enduring guitar riff that drills its way into your brain, Fox on the Run's sing-along chorus turned it into Sweet's signature stadium anthem. Though dismissed by critics as teeny bopper fodder, Sweet's polished studio sheen achieved pure pop perfection. Decades later, Fox on the Run endures as a gleaming glam rock gem and staple of 1970s rock radio. I Can See Clearly Now by Johnny Nash. Reggae and pop joyfully collided with Johnny Nash's buoyant 1972 chart topper, I Can See Clearly Now. Penned by Nash during a stroll on the rain-soaked streets of Jamaica, the song radiates with optimism at leaving heartache behind for bluer skies ahead. His soothing tenor glides effortlessly along in sync with the breezy acoustic guitars and subtly percolating groove. Meanwhile, graceful string flourishes provide warmth like the emerging sun piercing through gloomy storm clouds. Upon its release, I Can See Clearly Now resonated across multiple audiences, spending 4 weeks at #1 on both the Billboard Hot 100 and Hot Adult Contemporary charts. Beyond topping charts, its simple universality made the song a cultural touchstone featured in hit movies and commercials for years to come. Thanks to its message of hope and Nash's vibrant performance, I Can See Clearly Now shines as one of reggae's most effervescent crossovers into the pop mainstream.
I can see all obstacles in my way.
Youre So Vain by Carly Simon. With taunting lyrics and a hypnotic melody, Carly Simon skewered a self-absorbed ex-lover on her ubiquitous 1972 hit Youre So Vain. Simon coyly refuses to reveal the song's true target, instead taking joy in riddling the pompous Lothario's ego. Her breezy vocals float above the smooth folk pop arrangement driven by Mick Jagger's uncredited backing vocals. Clever lyrical barbs like, "You're so vain, you probably think this song is about you," encapsulate Simon's flair for venomous kiss-offs. Upon release, You're So Vain swiftly ascended the charts and scored Simon a Grammy for Best Pop Vocal Performance, Female. Decades later, the song remains her signature tune and pop culture touchstone thanks to its scathing wit and infectious chorus.
You walked into the party like you were walking.
Maggie May by Rod Stewart. Rod Stewart immortalized a bold romantic encounter on his smash 1971 single, Maggie May. The coming-of-age narrative follows a naive teenage boy's escapades with an older woman. Stewart's raspy vocals sing bittersweet longing over a rootsy folk rock shuffle. Subtle mandolin and accordion lines cast a Celtic aura, pairing nicely with Stewart's Scottish burr. Released as the B-side to his cover of Tim Hardin's Reason to Believe, its popularity eclipsed the A-side in the United States. Maggie May rocketed to #1 while helping cement Stewart's solo success apart from the Faces. Today, it stands as one of his most beloved hits and a quintessential snapshot of freewheeling sexual liberation in the 1970s.
Wake up, Maggie, I think I got something to say to you.
Born to Run by Bruce Springsteen. Bruce Springsteen shifted his sound into overdrive with the cinematic title track from 1975's Born to Run. Backed by the E Street Band, Born to Run condenses the driving passion and romantic idealism of his early records into one road-tripping anthem. Clever car metaphors like wheels roll by in a soft summer breeze mythologize escapism against thunderous drums and roaring guitars. As the boss soulfully vows, "We gotta get out while we're young," Clarence Clemons' towering saxophone solo sweeps in like a high-speed police chase. Upon release, Born to Run crystallized the operatic sound and streetwise spirit that made Springsteen a rock icon. During chaotic times, this romanticized musical escape offered a generation one last chance to make it real. Paranoid by Black Sabbath. Doom metal pioneers. Black Sabbath struck bone-crunching gold with Paranoid, the title track of their 1970 sophomore album. Ozzy Osbourne's wailing vocals warn of mental collapse against Tony Iommi's sledgehammer guitar riffs. Geezer Butler's brawny bass line plows ahead in sinister unison with Bill Ward's pummeling drums. Clocking in at a tight 2 minutes and 52 seconds, Paranoid wastes no time hammering its way into your skull. Although the track was written as an afterthought, its raw, sonic power popularized metal's signature elements of darkly occult lyrics and heavily distorted guitar tones. Paranoid soon emerged as Black Sabbath's signature song while influencing countless metal bands seeking to channel its crushing weight. Bad Company by Bad Company. Revered British rock supergroup Bad Company made their booming debut in 1974 with the release of their self-titled album and its title track, Bad Company. Crafting a new breed of bluesy hard rock, the song's biting riffs and Paul Rodgers' gritty crooning proved the band meant business. Rodgers boldly proclaims, "Company, always on the run," over Mick Ralphs' searing guitar licks as Simon Kirke's pounding drums ratchet up the outlaw intensity. When Rodgers soulfully wails, "Bad Company and I Can't Deny," there's no denying these aren't your average rockers looking to reform their wicked ways. Instead, Bad Company leans into their dangerous mystique, proudly embracing the renegade rock lifestyle they embodied. The song Bad Company made it abundantly clear upon the band's arrival that they aim to live fast and leave behind a timeless rock legacy.
Company, always on the run.
Summer Breeze by Seals and Crofts. The mellow folk rock duo Seals and Crofts sailed onto the charts with their breezy 1972 smash, Summer Breeze. Built around a gentle guitar riff and light Latin-inspired rhythm, the song radiates laid-back sunshine. Jim Seals and Dash Crofts' smooth harmonies conjure up idyllic images of a perfect summer day, with lyrics celebrating the simple joy of spending time with loved ones. The tranquil vibe evokes carefree days, drifting away without a worry in the world. A prominent violin melody adds dashes of melody that seem to drift along like leaves on a passing wind. Upon its release, Summer Breeze caught a wave of popularity, ascending to number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100. Its soothing sentiment struck a chord with listeners longing for an escape from turbulent times. Decades later, Seals and Crofts' sun-soaked ode to the languid pleasures of summer established itself as a seasonal anthem that never loses its ability to whisk us away to warmer climates.
See the curtains hanging in the window in the evening on a Friday night.
Benny and the Jets by Elton John. Elton John adopted a glamorous alter ego on his 1973 one smash Benny and the Jets. The piano-driven rocker introduces the fictional titular band in electrifying fashion. Elton's extroverted vocals take on the role of flashy frontman Benny, while Mick Ronson's crunchy guitar riffs approximate screaming fans. Clever lyrics written by Bernie Taupin convey Benny's larger-than-life persona, with tongue-in-cheek flair like, "She's got electric boots, a mohair suit," and "Oh, but they're weird and they're wonderful." During live performances, Elton further leaned into the theatrical concept by donning outrageous sequined glasses and costumes. Released when the glam rock explosion was at its peak, Benny and the Jets encapsulated that movement's spirit of escapism and flamboyant showmanship. Though Elton John had already enjoyed great success, the single's flash and spectacle cemented his status as a true pop culture superstar.
Hey kids, shaking this together, this fall I see is on.
Bad Moon Rising by Creedence Clearwater Revival. Swamp rock pioneers. Creedence Clearwater Revival unleashed their haunting hit Bad Moon Rising in 1969, serving up a heaping helping of Southern Gothic imagery. Frontman John Fogerty spooks listeners with ominous allusions to natural disasters, false prophets, and havoc on the horizon. Meanwhile, the steady backbeat churns along at a brisk clip like a pack of zombies on the march. Droning guitars and harmonica lines maintain the eerie vibe, echoing like howls in the bayou night. Fogerty's dire warnings urge Preparian for impending doom, singing, "Hope you got your things together. Hope you are quite prepared to die." However, the song maintains an almost cheerful melody at odds with its apocalyptic lyrics. Some speculate it covertly references the tumultuous political climate of the late 60s. But beyond any hidden message, Bad Moon Rising endures thanks to its menacing mood and CCR's remarkable ability to loosely evoke mysticism of America's Deep South.
I see the bad moon rising.
Wheel in the Sky by Journey. Journey blasted into the radio stratosphere with Wheel in the Sky, the standout single from their 1978 album Infinity. Co-written by new vocalist Steve Perry, his soaring melodies helped steer Journey's sound towards pop dominance. Lyrically, the song uses a roulette wheel metaphor to explore concepts of destiny and faith. Synthesizers glide over Neil Schoen's glistening guitars to give the track a smooth, celestial sheen. During the choruses, Perry's mighty vocals effortlessly climb to stratospheric heights. Wheel in the Sky marked the beginning of Journey's commercial peak throughout the late 70s and 80s. Its towering chorus and uplifting themes of overcoming adversity resonated strongly with mainstream audiences. Decades later, the Journey classic remains a staple of classic rock radio due to Perry's masterful vocal performance and the band's inspired blending of prog, pop, and arena rock.
Winter is here again, oh Lord. Haven't been home.
Time in a Bottle by Jim Croce, folk troubadour. Jim Croce struck a profound emotional chord with his tender 1973 ballad, Time in a Bottle. Written for his wife Ingrid ahead of their son's birth, Croce poignantly captures a parent's desire to cherish life's fleeting precious moments. Gentle finger-picked guitar and soft strings sway in time with Croce's heartfelt confessions. He vows that if he could save time in a bottle, he would save every day till eternity passes away, just to spend them with you. Tragically, it proved one of Croce's final singles, as he died in a plane crash weeks after its release. But the song's sentimental charm helped it top the charts, spending 2 weeks at the #1 that December. More than just a love song, Time in a Bottle continues touching listeners by reminding us to embrace each moment before they're gone. Its bittersweet beauty remains Croce's most enduring masterpiece.
If I could save time in a bottle.
And there you have it, friends. 28 monumental songs from the 1970s you forgot were so awesome. From mellow folk ballads to outrageous rock theatrics, we covered all corners of 70s excellence today. What hidden retro gem did I miss? Let me know in the comments below. If you dug this video blast from the past, then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more far-out throwback content. Catch you later.